All right. Been a long time coming. Still not done yet. Firewall is painted. Transmission is rebuilt. Engine has been tested and run. Radiator mount is installed. Some folks ask me why I'm not going to paint the firewall before I do this installation. That's because it's going to come apart again. It's going to get scratched. There's going to be modifications. There's no throttle cable. There's no wiring. The exhaust has yet to be fit. Who knows what else needs to be changed? That transmission tunnel on the inside still needs to be modified, possibly welded. But today we're going to put the engine in for the next to last time. All right, reintroducing our components. Got our Ford automatic transmission, freshly rebuilt. I think it's maybe a C4, C6. I don't know. It's gonna work. I don't know what it is. It's not a hot rod. It's not a race car. He did put a little something in there, he said, because he knows it's a heavy car it's going in, so whatever. I don't know if it's a shift kit. I don't even care. As long as when I put it in drive, it does what it's supposed to do. He's got a new torque converter. When I test fit the engine last time, I bent the freaking motor plate. I'll show you. Engine plate, whatever, you know, that thing. So this thing. Nothing major because I got new hardware for the flex plate as well. So I'm going to take this off, bop it back into shape. I know that these two fit together, so I'm going to assemble them. I'm not going to pre-assemble them here. I'm going to assemble them in the car. So I think I'm going to drop the transmission in through the driver's side. I got a floor jack there to lay the oil pan on. Then I'll pop the torque converter in and drop this engine in. Let me take this stuff off firstly. I just went to the auto parts store because it was interesting to me to find out that sockets like this, with this many points, they're not in the cheaper tool sets like I have. So they give you this hardware, ARP, whatever, fastener company. So yeah, you kind of need that. And then I just broke that, so give me a sec. Now I'm sure there's a torque specification for these things. What it is, I have no idea. I remember we were missing one, so he just stuck something in there to make it work, and it's definitely smaller than this one. Now, I don't remember if this thing goes on one certain way or not, but I'm going to try to keep it indexed. I actually never... That was easier said than done. It was on like that, so yeah. Let's keep this side up. And then, yeah, oops. Let me go bend that flat. All right, that looks nicer. Let's hang it in place temporarily. And now we got these new bolts. I don't know. I thought it was going to be a thread locker, but it says lubricant, so hey, not my business. That's what they give us. That's what I'm going to do. And there's some instructions included. Let's see what they say. I bet there's a torque spec in there. I do not use washers. All right. 85 foot-pounds. All right. So we put that goo on there, and we torque it to 85 foot-pounds. 3, 4. Jamie said that we have made our mark on the world now that the Tootsie Pop owl is advertising on our channel. And I got to agree with her. I mean, there are highs and lows in every career. Seeing that ad pop up, the classic Tootsie Roll, or no, the Tootsie Pop Yeah, I think they're Tootsie Pops. Either way, you know, the owl that counts. Yeah. All right, enough of that. This was here. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these all into place with the impact gun, and I'm going to leave that on the low setting. And I'm going to go get my torque wrench. And you know what? I have a feeling with the torque wrench, I am going to start to spin this engine over. There's spark plugs in it, but I have a feeling 85 foot-pounds is really going to send this crankshaft turning. So I don't know. Let's just see what we get. I've done this stuff before, and I've just taken that on number 3 setting, and I've never had a problem. But hey, that's just me. Could be my good luck. Yeah, all right. We don't got any cross-threading. Everything feels like it's jiving. That looks like it's cross-threaded. It's one thing about engines and fine threads, things of that nature. My caveman hands, sometimes they get the better of me. I think a thing is set. There it is. See, it wasn't set. That one wasn't set either. Because I am sure a new level of misery begins when you cross-thread a fastener like this in the crankshaft. I'm not looking for that adventure. Let's put this on number 1, tension, torque, however you want to describe it. All right, interesting. These all come to 80 foot-pounds of torque before that starts to really spin out. I'm just gonna hit it a little bit more. I bet we're fine. Put on 2, just give each one a rattle. That's it, I'm gonna call that good. There's these O-rings included, and I'm guessing that that's for the dipstick. He also has the speedometer, drive, and a couple other things. But all that can be put on later. I have a feeling this is too much for that. Yeah. Chop this real quick. All right, so I went in. I got the transmission mount just sitting there loose, which you can see how that mounts. I'm going to attempt to drop the transmission over the top of that, leaving everything unfastened, balance it on the floor jack, and then drop the engine into the saddle. How's that for camera work? But that's not the exciting part of things. The exciting part of things is when the rodeo begins, and that is me wrestling that transmission down into that hole. Let me get my gloves. All right. So I really hope this transmission's empty. I don't know why he would fill it, but it doesn't seem like anything's leaking yet. I hate that about transmissions, is when you tip them and it comes out the tail shaft. So there's no torque converter. I don't have to worry about that. And you know me. You know I'm going to drop this piece of wood about 9,000 times. I'm not trying to stab a hole through the oil pan just yet. Yep, this is where the extra hands and some assistance and some friends would really come in. But it's not in the cards for today. All right, we thought taking this out was fun. Now we got the car rolling. This thing trying to cut my leg off. The jack is in the wrong position. Yeah. Alright. I got the transmission pretty close. Let's see, it looks like it's got to come up just a little bit. All right, I got the transmission bell housing sticking out. I'm going to set this torque converter in there. What I just noticed is the torque converter is empty. So I'm going to have to go and get some fluid and fill this. Exciting. What kind of oil do we use in the Ford transmission? I'm going to call the transmission guy. All right, quick trip to the market. Apparently Fords take Type F transmission fluid, and the internets give us a mixed review. I don't know if this is a C4 or C6 transmission. I searched both. They say, well, the minimum I saw said, upon assembling a new unit, use at least 1 quart. But you don't have a dry start. I got 2 quarts, because I'm going to fill this thing. I'm going to turn it around and around, and I'm going to see what pours out. Because I'm thinking, this thing sits vertically. Right now it's laying on its back. So if I roll this around, get any bubbles out, and nothing's coming out this end with 1 quart, I'm going to try to add some more. What I don't want to happen is to put this on the transmission and something starts to come out because the dipstick is not connected, and that makes for a big puddle of brand new fluid on the floor. Ain't trying to do that. It looks to me like you just don't want to start it dry, like so many things. And also lubricate this part here because there's a new seal in the transmission. Let's see what happens. I'm going to turn this on its side, and I could see some juice in there. Oh, it's slowly going away. Yep. So, yeah, that's cool. So it definitely drank a full quart. Let's try some more. Because I can see it sort of washing back into the center now. So I'm thinking 2 quarts, with the metal that's in there and whatever else. I mean, that should give it a decent amount of juice to start. I hope. There is a little fitting on the other side. It looks like you could put a mini funnel in there. But I'm going to start this thing, Love to hear anybody's input like, whoa, you dummy, don't do that. But I don't know, 2 quarts are going in pretty good. And I don't think there's any friction in a torque converter, is there? It's just a pump, right? Am I correct in that? Not like there's anything grinding together. It'd just be some air in there that would need to get purged out. So that's what I was saying. Like, as long as I rotate this thing around and get all the surfaces covered in this oil, I think it would just kind of prime itself or purge itself or whatever the heck torque converters do in there. I know they convert torque, but I have very limited, what's the word? Not resources, experience. Yeah. I don't have a heck of a lot of experience with brand new torque converters. I have messed with them. I have installed them, but none that were mine. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on here and on that seal. Then I'm going to just a little drizzle of this transmission fluid. So you might say, don't put grease on it. It has a problem with the silicone. I don't know. I've heard lots of different things, but I got this Lucas red and tacky grease. I'm going to use it. We're going to find out the hard way because it'll heat up and it won't seal. A little action on these threads too. Not threads, splines. So I actually haven't really messed with a Ford transmission like this. With the Chevy, I know you take that thing, you put it in, you twist it, and you spin it, and it goes clunk, clunk. So maybe the Ford's the same. We're going to find out. I have a feeling we're going to end up with the same situation I encounter all the time, which is not being able to see what the frick I'm doing. All right. We got 1 torque converter. Set this over here. This is another reason I'm not painting. I mean, look at this. I'm putting parts, I'm putting fingerprints, putting stuff all over this thing. When I get to final paint, this thing is going to be draped in fabric, bed sheets, cardboard, I mean, you name it. Because that's why, right? This thing is painted, and I got the transmission laid up against that firewall. It's going to chip the paint. I'm not trying to do that. See that little threaded thing? If I needed to, I could put a funnel right there. Oh, there did it. It did two little clunks, just like the Chevy did. Cool. All right. So the idea is once the engine's bolted up, you reach in here and you move this, and then the bolts go through the flex plate. That worked out well. All right. I think I'm going to take this motor mount off, even though you can't see it. I'm going to make as much room in here as possible. Because if there's one thing I know, my luck installing engines turns into a whole pile of problems. So both engine mounts are out, transmission mounts off. This is higher than it needs to be. It's showing a little more face. Let's try to drop that engine. Yeah, see, look at all these fingerprints. Fingerprints, scratch marks, etc. Fortunately, this is only a very simple coat of primer to stop the rust. So that's good to get wiped with acetone, sanded, you know, the whole treatment. This is why we pre-assemble and pre-assemble and pre-assemble before paint. There was a little concern about that. Some people thought I should just go in, paint that firewall. Heck no. All right, am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. We got these two bolts just for temporary to hold that so I don't let it fall and bend again. Someone also said I should WD-40 the wheels on this engine hoist, and I'm going to disagree with you on that. This thing is just bent and done. I'm working on getting some new equipment. And again, the more time you put the engine in, the more time you know all the little nuances about what the clearances are, etc. So you don't go chipping the paint. All right, now this pulley is pretty large, and it looks like we're gonna bang the firewall on the flex plate. So let's drop it. See what I'm saying? That could have been a paint scratch. Definitely take those pulleys off for final assembly and put some cardboard on that firewall. I have to remember to watch this video before I do that. Yeah. So you know, it looks like I might need to hang the engine hoist from that first hole, because I gotta get the angle right, unless I could drop this. Try this. Yeah, that's close. All right, it is lining up. Drop it a wee bit more. Okay, flex plate is hitting. Yeah, I'm gonna need to change up this. Yeah, transmission's got to rotate, but it is close. Try this. Yeah. Good times. If I can get this off, I'm going to try to relocate that hook. Let's see if it all collapses. Problem is the transmission has rotated. Another floor jack under there. I don't know if I can make that happen now. shitty. So the engine's like this, the transmission's like that. And you have all these parts of things in the way. An engine hoist coming all the way in. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get another floor jack in there. 180 degrees. Flipped it to do the exact opposite. Perfect. Good times. All right, let me try to raise this. Maybe the air in the car is lowering. It's always a possibility. Also, everything just seemed like it got a lot more cramped. I have been gone for an hour trying to get oil because I forgot my wallet the first time. An inch is an inch. I mean, that just lifted, so it might help us. Got this thing hanging by a different support. Much better. Yeah, look at that. Right in place. Let me raise this transmission up just a little bit. There it is. Now you got these two big clunky pieces of metal, and when they're right, they're right. When they're not, they're not. It's funny. This will probably end up being a 5-minute video. It's taken me all day just about. Set this up to execute. I go shopping. Nobody said it was going to be easy. But I did buy new bolts. And you know, I'm in so much of a mood right now. I don't even think I'm going to put those engine mounts on. I'm going to let this thing sit right here. I'm going to come back with a fresh point of view. Because tomorrow, well, I want to make this, see, my whole aim, my attitude is because I was trying to make this video straightforward, efficient, and easy to edit. Because Jamie has this awesome thing she's working on. Tomorrow's her first day at it as a volunteer. And here I am, screwing up the filming, making the edit a struggle. Oh, I digress. So Jamie's got this cool gig. She's working for this thing. It's called the Cesar Chavez National Monument. He was an activist for farm workers back in the 60s, 70s. And they have this huge, awesome garden monument thing. And Jamie's volunteering there. And I definitely support her in that effort. That's a super cool thing to be a part of. Hence my interest in making a simpler video today. Alright, so we got 6 new bolts on the bell housing. The little pins from the engine to the bell housing are in the proper spaces. They are located. And rear transmission mount is sitting there, not bolted, ready to rock. Front engine mounts are standing by. I think what I'm going to do is probably just drop this engine loose off of the engine stand, and I'm going to raise this car up on those ETA wheel stands because I have to do a little welding on the underside of this, and then do all the rest of the engine mount bolts. You can see we're going to have to work this transmission cover and so much more. You know, and this happens so much with projects. You lose a little of the fire, you know, you lose the passion, you got to step back. And not that I've been grinding hard on these projects, but, you know, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of stuff that's been up in the air. And the solutions haven't been coming easy, as simple as it may seem. So, now that we're starting to get something somewhere, let me raise this up a little bit more. I'm going to set these two just on their bolts. And I'm going to come back fresh, reinvigorated. this all bolted up. Yeah, unfortunately, this freaking engine hoist, it's hitting the front bumper now, and I cannot get this engine further back. I'm gonna dump it right here. And watch this. Highly esoteric. If this wasn't in the car, like it's gonna land like that, I would never take that bolt out, but it's not going nowhere. I'm gonna hit the camera. Everything is tight quarters. Look at that. It's just swung it into position. That's what we needed. Note to self. When installing the engine next time, leave the bumper off. This is why. This is why we're pre-assembling. Yeah, it's real close. The bolt is literally hanging up on the firewall. I'm about to chew my leg off out of frustration. So you don't want to be doing this on a finished car, you dig? You don't want to be cutting the firewall apart after it's painted. That's why we're not painting. Because it never seems to go back exactly the way you planned it the first time in these critical development stages. All right, let's get it now. Ooh, did you hear that? That was the sound of an engine sliding into place. Yeah. And that one, there, it just set right in the hole. Why's it gotta be so difficult? You know, I seen a guy on YouTube once, he just went and put that engine right in there. It was no stress, like it was perfect, like it was meant to be. But that wasn't on this channel. Oh, look. There's an engine in the car. We get to do all that again after it's painted with twice the amount of pressure. Awesome. Love my job. All right, there it is. One nice little edit for Jamie. One camera, 12 takes. You can see what we're dealing with here. There's plenty of room once the engine's installed. The motor mounts are located. And then coming in here, you could see how I had to notch those two right here, because when the engine came up and in, you need to raise that up a little bit. But that's cool. If we ever have to take the transmission out, we won't need to completely remove the engine. We can unbolt it and just slide it forward a bit, and this, we know, will come right out the top. Exciting. Seems like after almost every episode at the ending, I'm almost ready to quit. Not today, though. Come back again, we'll carry on. This thing is almost ready to get on the trailer and go up to the house.